Over 300,000 cheaters banned, in-game crashes addressed, and what about a reconnect feature? We're going to talk about these and more in Recollection. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Paragon, and you're watching Recollection. As my first gaming news update, we're going to cover a Respawn check-in. Respawn posted on Reddit yesterday, said, "Hello, friends. Before we head into weekend, we wanted to touch on some topics. Cheaters. As of today, we've banned over 355,000 players on PC through an easy anti-cheat. The service works, but the fight against cheaters is an ongoing war, and we'll need to continue to adapt to and be very vigilant about fighting. We're taking cheaters very seriously, and we care deeply about our health of Apex Legends for all players. We are working on improvement to combat cheaters, and we're going to have a pretty secretive about our plan. Cheaters are crafty, and we don't want them to see us coming. With that said, we can share some high-level things we're doing. We're reaching out and working directly with experts, both within and outside of EA, in these areas that we can learn from. Scaling up our anti-cheat team so we have more dedicated resources. We are adding a report feature on PC to report cheaters in-game that goes directly into anti-cheat." Now, what does this mean for us? Well, for one, that's 355,000 players off the PC servers. Now, is that going to stop players from creating other accounts and just basically doing the same thing that they've been doing? No, but that's where they said we're adding in a report feature on PC to report cheaters in game. I know multiple other games do this, PUBG, H1Z1, even Fortnite, I believe you can report players. So I think it's a very beneficial thing to do this. Now I hope it doesn't get to a point where people are abusing this and getting angry at other players where you die because somebody just shot you and they report you because they died. Hopefully it sticks with, hey, I'm going to report this player. It seems like he's using a wall hack or he's using an aimbot, something like that, to where they can basically just kill you instantly. And I hope that Respawn EA gets these reports, that they're just going to review it and they're going to look at some gameplay to see exactly what this guy's doing. Hopefully they keep an eye on him. Hopefully that they don't just cut the person off like, hey, this person got reported 5 times. He might just be a good player. Who knows? So they're not going to tell us directly exactly what they're going to be doing with the anti-cheat, because if you did that, then the cheaters would just basically work around it. Now on to the next thing. Spammers during character select. I know in US servers it's not a big deal. I live in Japan. Being on Asian servers, I get these spammers all the time. As soon as I join the match, they're speaking a foreign language. Basically what I believe they're saying is that, hey, go to this site, enter this code, get a free cheat, get free aimbot. But as soon as you get into the match, they disconnect and they leave. So basically you're at a disadvantage. You're a 2v3 for most of the fights. Yeah, that's not fun. Respawn addressed this. They said, "Spammers during character select. We are very aware of the cases of players spamming during character select and the drop and then disconnect shortly after." Like I said, they would spam some things in chat, some letters, codes, stuff like that. They would spam that in chat, and they would also spam the voice chat saying, hey, go to this site, download the cheats, and you can wall hack, aimbot, whatever the case. So they said, "We're keeping a lot of our strategy close to this chest so offenders don't have time to build workarounds before we implement changes. Solutions won't happen right away, but we're on it." So that means Respawn knows about the Asian servers cheaters. They're basically trying to come up with ways to implement around. Obviously, they won't tell us exactly what they're doing because, again, the cheaters and the spammers are just going to work their way around it. Then they went on to address the crashes. Now this one I like because I use an RTX 2080 and the crashes, they weren't fun. So next week, AMD will be at our studio just like we did with the NVIDIA visit. So they actually brought in NVIDIA to kind of work around like, hey, why are your crashes causing some of our NVIDIA drivers to crash? So let's fix it. We'll be working together to improve stability and performance on PC. And the next client patch on PC will be addressing some of the known crashes, but there will still be work to do as we haven't nailed down all the crashes yet. That fix is out currently. They updated it and a lot of the crashes have been fixed across PC network. Not all of them, but most of them. In Season 1, we'll be adding improved reporting that should help us identifying and squashing more PC crash issues. Meaning that in Season 1, when the big update comes out with new legends, new weapons, whatever's coming out in Season 1, they're going to come out with the reporting for cheaters, they're going to come out reporting for spammers, and they're going to come out with a better reporting for specific crashes. I've seen it shared here, but in case anyone has missed it, NVIDIA has released a driver update for RTX users that has been experiencing the DXGI error device hung crash specifically for GeForce RTX cards. And we're continuing to work with NVIDIA to improve performance and stability. Now, I use a GeForce RTX 2080 card, so this one kind of hits home to me. When I first started playing the game, playing since day one, not all the time, but at least once or twice a day, I would get that exact crash. Without a reconnect feature, I just kind of left my team hanging. And especially when I was in a pre-formed group, I would reload up the game. They'd be still in the match playing the game. And I've had it to where my team would come in second or third, someplace like that, to where maybe if I was there, we could have came in first. So on to the reconnect feature. We've heard the suggestions from you folks asking for a reconnect to a match feature. We are not pursuing this for a couple of reasons. It opens a lot of risk for players to abuse it. We believe resources needed to build, test, and release it are better spent focusing on fixing stability issues so that the feature isn't necessary. So let's go over that line item 2. We are believing the resources needed to build, test, and release are better spent focusing on fixing stability issues so that the feature isn't necessary. Meaning, like what they're doing with the graphics card, like what they're doing with spamming features, stuff like that, trying to get rid of these cheaters and spammers, making it to where you won't disconnect during a match. Right now, most players want a reconnect feature because we have all these crashes. If we didn't have all these crashes, what's the point of a reconnect feature? We play throughout the whole match. There's no reason for it. So it leads us to line item 1. It opens a lot of risk for players to abuse it. What do they mean? They didn't go into detail about this, but in my experience with reconnect features, what happens if you're playing a game, somebody intentionally disconnects? They close out the game real quick, they disconnect, and they wait 2 minutes, 3 minutes for maybe a passer team going by. Maybe you're getting shot at and you're pinned down. Then you disconnect. And then you reconnect. Now, the way I see a way around this, and I don't know if Respawn is actually maybe thinking about it or not, they said they're not pursuing it, but they might have thought of different ideas. What about doing like a revive system? You disconnect from the game, and instead of reconnecting and you have all your stuff again and you're in the exact same spot you disconnected, what happens if you go to the nearest respawn beacon and you drop back in with basically nothing? That would be a more beneficial reconnect system rather than reconnecting and being behind an enemy team that just passed you up and you disconnected for 2 minutes and then you reconnected. So that's the way I see it. Now, they also address the slow server performance at the start of the matches. We've all been in that game where, hey, the hot zone's right below you. We're all going to drop. We're all going to try to take the loot there. We're all going to try to win at this one location, literally at the beginning of the map. So, 3, 2, 1, we all drop down. We get to the bottom. And then everything seems slow. Nothing seems to be moving. Everyone seems slow. Shots fired, grenades being thrown, even movement speed, slides, whatever you're doing. Everything just seems slow. So they're addressing that as well. We've seen these reports and are narrowing down causes and making improvements. If this could be fixed by spending money on faster, more server, we would do it. But unfortunately, there is no silver bullet on this one. We're just rolling up our sleeves and digging in. We'll keep you updated on any progress we make. It's kind of like a bogging issue. You have so many people, one area of the map, when you have this whole map that's rendered in, and then you drop down in this one area, and you have 30 people, literally half the amount of people in the game in one area. Most games, no matter who it is, gets bogged down for things like this. So I'm curious as to how Respawn's going to fix this. Now, that is all that they said on Reddit. They said, have a great weekend, everyone, and be excellent to each other. We'll see you next week. What do they mean by we'll see you next week? Now, there's a lot of speculation going on, a lot of rumors going around, especially with people dropping in saying, hey, the Battle Pass is coming on the 12th. Hopefully that's true, but there's no hard evidence saying that this is going to happen. But maybe this is Respawn saying, hey, next week is the Battle Pass drop. But they're keeping everything close to the chest. They're not saying hardly anything about this. At least what they're doing with Reddit updates and everything is keeping us up to date on some of the small things, that they are listening to us, that they are wanting to hear our input, that they are doing things and pertaining to our input. This is all good things to keep up, and good job for Respawn for doing that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. If you liked what you saw and want more, hit subscribe. Leave a comment below and tell me how I'm doing. Once again, this has been Recollection. Later. Take me right back to the start.